Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 275 of the On Air Advocate. Where at the On Air Advocate, we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate. And I am super excited if you are joining us here this Tuesday evening, or whether you are catching this on the replay. Now, as always, if you think any of the content that we are talking about today could be relevant for anyone in your network or your circle, please hit the share button and share the love with others. Well, if my shirt doesn't tell you, we are here to talk about PANCAN, which we do sometimes even twice a year, every year, and sometimes twice a year, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. And all the new things that they have coming up for PurpleStride, as well as their research campaigns and whatnot. So we're going to dive all into that in just a few moments, but I have my crew here with me, and I just want you guys to get to know them a little bit. So starting out with Steve.
Hi, Tammy, and thank you once again for having us on. We appreciate your promotion of PurpleStride and Pancreatic Cancer Awareness. My name is Steve Lipshetz, and I'm the Communications Chair of the Milwaukee affiliate. I've been in this role since 2011, and as most of the volunteers, my family has been affected by pancreatic cancer. My wife lost both her mother and one of her sisters in 2010 within 6 months each other of pancreatic cancer.
And that is how you became involved. What year you've been involved since 2011, Steve?
Could you repeat that, please, Tammy?
You've been involved since 2011, or what year did you get involved? Because I know that you have different roles.
That's correct. I've been involved in 2011, basically the same position I've done. The name has changed a few times. I attended my first PANCAN meeting supporting my wife. She wanted to go to the meeting. They were looking for someone who had experience with media, and they said, okay, you're recruited into the role. And it's been a learning experience, learned a lot about pancreatic cancer and also the media, and super excited for PurpleStride, of course, and also for our November awareness campaign.
Yes, well, Steve, we are very grateful for all that you do as well. And thank you guys for being here tonight. Bert and Tricia, can you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Sure. I'm Tricia, and I am the wife and caregiver of my husband, Bert, here, who was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in December of 2019. It was actually on Christmas Eve, so worst Christmas ever. So he's been kind of my inspiration for all of this. Not kind of, definitely my inspiration for all of this. And I've joined, PANCAN since I found out about them, and I'm now the Survivor and Caregiver Engagement Chair, because I am very close to both the caregiver and survivor situation, and how that impacts a family, and how the initial diagnosis just devastates you when you start learning about all of the information that comes flying at you just from cancer, but this cancer, which is just so deadly.
And hi, my name is Bert Zenker. As Tricia was saying a little earlier, I'm a cancer survivor. So we're at least a solid year and a half into my recovery. I, of course, go see my surgeon, every 3 months, and everything has gone fantastic since my surgery. I've had a very clear bill of health, and my vitals have never been as good as they are now, which is terrific. So very happy to be here today.
We are very, very happy to have you here. And I know that there are so many efforts. I was chatting with all of them before the show started, and there are lots of different efforts that are going on. Steve, did you want to share that with us when we talk about research and things that are moving forward with PANCAN?
Yes, certainly. And it's exciting to hear more and more about that, because we are getting very close to being able to identify people who are susceptible to pancreatic cancer or starting with pancreatic cancer at a very early stage, meaning stage 0 or stage 1. There's an effort in Europe that has taken the approach of developing a blood test for early diagnosis strictly of pancreatic cancer by a company called Immunovia. It's called IMRAE, the name of the test. They're hoping to get approval from the European Union by the end of the second quarter, and then we'll work on getting approval within the United States. Johns Hopkins, who is a very well-known cancer and pancreatic cancer institution, has been working on early diagnostics of different forms of cancers. But the two that look extremely promising, first of all, a company named Grail that's headquartered out in California has developed a blood test that can identify 50 or more cancers at a very early stage, including pancreatic and a few other less well-known cancers at an early stage. They expect to have FDA approval by the end of the second quarter. And we actually had one of their representatives, who's based out of Minneapolis, discuss in front of our affiliate meeting a few months ago their efforts, and I'm trying to connect her to Wisconsin doctors right now so she can start a pre-rollout of the test. The other effort, and this one is very, very close to home because it's being funded by the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, is a $25 million clinical trial effort to take data that's been developed by the National Cancer Institute, having received funding through the 2012 Recalcitrant Cancer Act. And the data that they have on new onset diabetes is being used as the basis of the trial, looking at this group of people and also those who may exhibit some symptoms of pancreatic cancer, sudden weight loss, alcoholism as one of the contributing factors, loss of appetite as a contributing factor. Any of these they're looking at and working to formulate the clinical trials on it. So it is definitely very exciting times. And to add to that, since we're discussing blood tests, and as I'm sure you know, Medicare is very slow on approving new treatments for patients. There's an initiative right now in Congress that has bipartisan support that will automatically give Medicare approval for payments for early diagnostic tests when the FDA approves them. So that's another piece of the puzzle.
That is great. And for 2020, as we sit in 2021 right now, what is the rate? Because I know that for a while, pancreatic cancer was like the second, third, in taking lives for that. Where is it right now for 2020?
We're still the third deadliest cancer, with only a 10-year 10% 5-year survival rate. Mm-hmm. That unfortunately didn't increase from 2020, and actually the number of new cases diagnosed this year, or estimated to be diagnosed this year, went up by about 3,000 cases. In Wisconsin, roughly 3 people are diagnosed every day with pancreatic cancer and 2 people pass. So it continues on as it has been for the last several years with that statistic.
Yeah, when you think about that, only 1 out of every 10 people diagnosed with this cancer live 5 years. I mean, if that doesn't wake people up to needing some funding to get this cancer under control, or at least early diagnosable, nothing will. I mean, 1 in 10, that's it.
And of course, you're right, Tricia, and the earlier it's diagnosed, the higher is the survival rate, too. Mm-hmm. And it goes up exponentially from that 1 in 10 when you diagnose at a 0 or 1 stage.
And now for those listening in, is there anything actively that people can do to help to rid this? I mean, is there a list of things that are helpful, in keeping the body conditioned, or is there really no rhyme or reason? There's nothing that you can do to, do they find that smoking does, heighten the amount of people who get pancreatic cancer? You guys know that? I don't know.
Well, they do find that there's an increased risk with that. Only just because you're a smoker doesn't mean that you're going to get pancreatic cancer. So there's genetic. If you have a first degree relative, mother, father, sister, brother, with pancreatic cancer, there are genetic tests that can be taken right now that can test for genes.
Mm-hmm. So increased risk would be, you can obviously, if it's in your genes or if other people have had it in your family, can do genetic testing. But what are some of those other that are increased risk?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. You're probably only catching half of my words as my face is freezing in between. So some of the increased risk, obviously, if genetically it's down in your family line, and what you're saying is that you can get genetic testing for the case. But smoking would fall under one of those things that just give you a little more of a heightened risk.
Smoking, drinking, excess weight can contribute to it. Some of the symptoms, and I don't know if you exhibited any of the symptoms, the backaches, or what your symptoms were, Bert, that first sent you to the doctor.
With mine, I was looking jaundice, and so we went online, we looked at some things, and we made a phone call, and the next thing we were in their emergency room, and I wasn't feeling bad, maybe a little tired, but I've heard about the back aches and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, it's just the jaundice color.
And he had, it's interesting he says that, but as his wife, he had all these other things too, where his skin got really dry and itchy, and he was getting headaches, and he lost a significant amount of weight in a very short period of time. And so as we're sitting in the emergency room, and the doctor is saying, well, did you have this? And he's like, well, yeah, I'm going to share a little bit too much, but he had diarrhea for a couple of months and never even mentioned it to me. And so they're saying, did you have this? And he's like, well, yeah, I had that. And they said, well, did you have this other? And it was literally a litany of symptoms that didn't really go together to be anything. It's, all common occurrences. But, once you put them all together, and like you said, the one thing that actually brought me to say, we need to get you to the doctor, was the jaundice, because his eyes were even yellow. Mm-hmm. And that's when, they knew after they immediately had a stomach x-ray taken, and they knew right away, but they can't say in the emergency room, yes, you have cancer. It was basically, we're going to, have you checked out, and we're going to keep you overnight. And, he was in surgery at 7 a.m. the next morning to get a stent put into a bile duct to, stop at least the jaundice from that until they could actually go in and do a little bit more testing, and they could, do a biopsy of what the mass that they had seen.
And what stage was it at?
I was considered borderline
right resectable.
Yeah. So it looked like it was something they could, remove, but it wasn't 100% when we first got diagnosed. So immediately after the surgery, we went right into chemotherapy for I think it was 8 sessions, and then that's when we got a couple of different opinions, and then finalized on Dr. Evans over at Freighter for my surgery. So yeah, it was chemo, then radiation, then we took a break. Had a little issue with my lungs, so I had to get that cleaned up. They had to vacuum out my lungs, and it's about the only way I can say it. But then I had a little bit more chemotherapy. Then we had the surgery. So, essentially from, like we were saying, December 24th of 19 till it was August 26th of 20 is when I actually had the surgery. So it was that period of time of, pre-surgical treatments.
Yeah.
And then I had the Whipple, as I think most everybody that has pancreatic has the Whipple.
If they're able.
If they're able, yes. And not all of us are, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that was, in this heightened time of COVID. I know this is off the subject, but how was that for the two of you? You know what I'm saying? Traveling this journey through this pandemic and like living at the hospital, you know what I'm saying, during this time. How was that?
Well, at the beginning, you could come to like my chemo sessions, and those are literally 6 hours. You're there in the chair. And, so we would come, we would both try to stay busy. We would do a little work. We would read, we would talk. And then as it got more heightened, Trish couldn't come to the hospital anymore.
Yeah.
And
he had to go by himself and,
you text and stuff, but it definitely, that was a, heightened anxiety for sure to not have, your support, with you during that journey.
But the other thing is I ended up, because of the pandemic, working from home, which he was home a lot being ill. So, from the chemo and everything, that really hit him hard. So I was able to be with him, 24/7, probably more than he wanted, but I was able to keep an eye on him and watch all the changes. And so in that respect, it was, a blessing that I could be able to be with him and take care of him. And,
Yeah. So, we literally became shut-ins for a number of months, just like everybody else, but even more so because we were very hypersensitive of my health at that time. Everyone was, but I just could not be near anybody.
We didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything.
Right.
Even seeing family, we couldn't see family. So that was pretty tough, especially not seeing my parents other than for like an hour and a half one day when they came back from Florida.
And we all stood outside and,
So.
But it was a unique situation for sure.
And through PANCAN during that time, had you already started this kind of role as the engagement chair? What month did that start in?
No, I hadn't. I think I started doing it around June. It was one of those, when we first got the diagnosis, I researched online and I found PANCAN and, I got some support from them and they, showed me, the types of resources. And as I got more, information from them and, the local affiliate in Milwaukee reached out to me and they were just so welcoming and so kind that, and I had all this nervous energy that, I just kind of, migrated to them and said, okay, how can I help? What can I do? And as Steve will say, well, you could do this. And so I'm happy to help. It's a wonderful organization and they do amazing work. And like I said, every person I've met has been so immersed in pancreatic cancer and they're so engaging and kind. And I couldn't ask for a better group of people that, I became affiliated with just because, like I said, they were reaching out to us and saying, how can we help? What can we do? And it's like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Right. And now, before we dive into PurpleStride, which is where we've all gotten these awesome t-shirts from, and all the happenings in Milwaukee, with you being the head of that area for survivors, for caregivers, what is the best way for people to get connected? Are there like monthly support groups? Is it weekly support groups? What's there for individuals as well as the person going through treatment, the person being cured?
Well, the first thing I would say to do is if you're on Facebook, go to our Facebook page, Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, a Milwaukee affiliate. and, you know, go on there and you will see all sorts of different resources. We can reach out to you through that as well. But there's also, pancan.org. I believe that's it, right, Steve? Here.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. So you could go there and get some information, source it there, and we can, we will absolutely, if you're in the Milwaukee area or even in Wisconsin, there's another affiliate in Madison, but, going there or the Facebook page, it's kind of like you're just opening the door to a plethora of, resources to help you through this.
Yes, Tammy, if people go to our Facebook page, and I'll give you the URL, www.facebook.com/groups/pancan.Milwaukee. They'll be able to communicate, send questions, ask for information, ask to be connected. It's a monitored site, and anything that comes in goes to our affiliate chair in order to respond and get back to people. We have affiliate meetings usually from September to June, and we hope to get back to being in person in the fall, but we're still taking a wait and see effort. Our affiliate meetings are at one of Freighter's buildings, and they haven't opened up their conference rooms yet. So we're monitoring that situation. Hope to get out of the Zoom world and back in person, because it's really a great environment that our survivors that attend the meeting kind of go to the side, huddle together, talk about common problems, issues, feelings that they have, and same with caregivers to get ideas from other caregivers like that. You really can't beat being in person when it comes to something like this.
Yep.
And I know that if those are listening outside of Wisconsin, there is, it's pancan.org, right? So that's the national site.
Yes. If you go on pancan.org, there's a link where you put your zip code in, and it'll direct you to the closest affiliate to you. We have about 60 or so affiliates around the country. I know Tricia mentioned Madison, but we also right now are very active volunteer up in the Fox Valley area, and we've got a number of followers up in that area that are participating and would have participated in person if we had an in-person PurpleStride this year.
Yes. So that's where I'm taking this next, because I need the details as well. So what is happening here in Milwaukee this year for PurpleStride?
Okay, it's virtual, but we're going to have live opening ceremonies at 10 a.m. on June 6th, Sunday, June 6th. We usually have PurpleStride the first Sunday in June, subject, of course, to the brewer's schedule, because if they're home, we can't have our activities there. We will have a brief 15, 20-minute ceremony. At that time, for PurpleStride, Natalie Shepard of CBS 58 is our MC, and our media sponsor, VTY Country and Buzz Country, gentlemen from those radio stations will be participating, and they're also running interviews right now of volunteers and some of our survivors. So they've been big support. If you go to purplestride.org/Milwaukee, you can still register for the event. And in the event, there's a link to our virtual event village, which will be links to a lot of different things about pancreatic cancer, our sponsors, our top fundraisers, our top teams. So it's a great source of information. We're going to have some slides where our participating survivors that have registered for PurpleStride are featured, and also some of our caregivers will be featured. So these are all things that we would be doing a lot better in person, of course, but this is going to be the next best thing.
Yes, and I know that last year because I did it. We walked and did, streamed live on Facebook and walked around as a family and all that kind of stuff in our neighborhoods. So that kind of the same concept, even though there's those opening ceremonies with just some of the staff and stuff that people can watch live via Facebook, right? That's not for people to come and attend, correct?
That's correct. They work. We encourage people to post pictures of themselves onto our Facebook site. We have a gigantic ad at the corners of Brookfield right now in their Market Square. So if you look at the advertisement on that screen, it's in rotation with our other advertisements. We encourage people to take their picture in front of that, and we're also going to have some selfie stations rolling out within the week before PurpleStride, and information on that will be posted on social media too. So the idea is let's paint Facebook purple for PurpleStride.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So the selfie stations, are those just going to be like surprise locations? Like, how do I find out where I'm going to take a selfie?
They'll be listed on both on our event website and also in social media. And since we're working with a third party to roll some of them out, we still don't have the exact location.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be watching for those, and Steve, if you can, we can stick them right below this Facebook Live as well. So if people refer back to this, they can find them there. I can do that, and then we can put the links and everything below as well. So still time to register. And if you register, is it like a $25 donation? Does that get you a shirt?
Well, the time period for ordering the T-shirts has expired. The last day was May 16th. The way that we distribute this year, as you know, in past years when we're live, either the day of the event or the day before the event, we have T-shirt pickup. Yeah. Last year, we never got T-shirts until after the event, and we had kind of a drive-by where people would stop and get handed T-shirts in their cars while everyone was masked up. This year, our T-shirt vendor is mailing directly to the house the T-shirts, and will arrive the week before PurpleStride. Okay.
So if not, I know everybody can find something purple somewhere. So if you missed out on the shirt, or I'm sure you could probably go to the PANCAN.org, and they probably have a shop on there, right? That you can just.
They sure do.
There you go. So there's that's how to solve that problem.
Actually, I'm not wearing a PurpleStride T-shirt today. I'm wearing one of my Wage Hope shirts. Let's see, there it is, Wage Hope.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So there's all those different things that you can buy right on the site. So if you miss this period of time, and I know there's PurpleStride in all different states as well. So when you go to that main website, you also can find out in your state that you live in where the PurpleStride virtual event is happening, and maybe they'll have selfie stations and all of that there in your town too, right? All right, wonderful. Well, in wrap up, I would like to know if there's anything that for each one of you would like to leave us with. When we talk about pancreatic cancer and anything that you would like to share with the audience or leave us with tonight as a great reminder, what might that be? I know I just threw that at you. I didn't even put that on like a questionnaire that I was going to ask it, but we're going to ask it.
As far as about pancreatic cancer itself, listen to your body. If you start getting these random symptoms, they may not be so random. And if you have any questions, our team, we're out here to help you through it. And again, don't ignore symptoms. Go to the doctor. I'm glad we were able to get to the doctor in time. Not as many people are that lucky. So go to your doctor.
Go to your doctor. That's great.
And also, we have Patient Central as part of our main office in California, where if you call in, you get a dedicated resource to answer your questions, to give you information about clinical trials, to connect you with other survivors. And if you call more than once, you'll get the same person on the phone because they're assigned to you and they get to know your case. So this is another way that our funding supports everyone around the country.
Yeah. And to share what Steve was just saying, I was able to talk with other cancer survivors just to what was their journey like. So that it's an awesome thing to be able to, talk one-on-one with somebody, and when we can get back face-to-face to do some of those groups. But as a cancer survivor, what I would share is there's really no other worse news you can hear than when somebody says you got cancer. It does turn your world upside down. But the one thing that you got to do is you got to stay positive. You got to be a fighter. You got to look at it from the what can I do to conquer this? It's no by means an easy journey, but you got to have a positive attitude. To me, that's almost half the battle. So that'd be what I would share with everybody.
Definitely. Well, you know what? God is good, and Bert, I'm so happy to hear that you are cancer-free. You are cancer-free, and you guys are all so passionate about the cause and spreading awareness. And that's the main thing, is that we need to remember that we need to get to the doctor, like you said, and once we're getting our checkups and earlier intervention, the better. And so I'm excited about all this research and all that is happening. So I thank you guys so much for being here with me tonight and sharing about PurpleStride, about all the efforts of the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network.
Well, thank you, Tammy. We really appreciate you taking the time to hear about pancreatic cancer.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Our dog says hello too, as you can tell.
Well, thank you guys so very, very much. I hope that you all are going to turn Milwaukee purple on Sunday, June 6th. You will see me on my social media pages sporting my purple, and I might be sporting my Reggie's Angels because that's who I walk for, Reggie, every year. So we'll be out there. I hope you get out there too. And thanks again, guys, for being on the show tonight. If you guys want to know any more about the On Air Advocate and the resources we have to offer, head on over to onairadvocate.com. You'll find them all there, and we will drop all the links from today below, so it's easy and accessible for you to find the information. Thanks again, guys.
Bye.
Take care. Thank you.